It's day 91 of 118 days with the Tudors, and today we're thinking about 1575. And in this year, Elizabeth I radically changes the benefit of the clergy, meaning that people claiming they were part of the clergy who'd committed particular crimes could be tried as a regular felon. So what was the benefit of the clergy? So the benefit of the clergy had been a right for somebody who was a member of the church for quite a long time. It meant that if they were accused of a crime, they could express the fact that they were a member of the clergy, and this would give them the benefit of being tried not in a secular court, so not in a regular court, in an ecclesiastical court. And this meant that they were generally going to be given more lenient punishments if punished at all. Ecclesiastical courts had been knocking about since William the Conqueror. This idea of the benefit of the clergy actually began when the Romans converted to Christianity, but it didn't take much of a hold in England until the 12th century when Thomas Becket was murdered, and this caused a lot of animosity towards the king, King Henry II at the time. In order to try and make amends with the church, he allowed this benefit of the clergy to be something that could be utilised in England. So essentially, if you are a clergyman, if you're a man of the church and you've committed a crime, you can ask to be tried in a more lenient way. But how did people prove that they were who they said they are? How did they prove that they were a member of the clergy? Because don't forget, if you're from a different parish or a different town or a different city, people don't necessarily know. Well, initially, you just need to appear in court tonsured, meaning that you would have that bald patch sort of shaved into the top of your head that you often think of when you think of medieval monks, or perhaps just appear at court in ecclesiastical dress. Later on, you just had to pass a literacy test. And under Edward III in 1351, it was extended to anybody who was literate. So as long as you could read and write a bit, they'd believe that you were a member of the church and you could be tried in this more lenient manner. However, some restrictions did start to come against this. So in the reign of Henry VII in 1488, he started to say, if you couldn't actually prove you were a member of the church, we'll let you claim it, but they would brand your thumb. And so you were only allowed to do this once. It's like a one-time offer. So if you've got that branding on your thumb and you commit another crime, tough luck. And, you can't prove you're an actual man of the church. You'll just go into the secular court. And then Henry actually did something quite good, Henry VIII. You'll be surprised to hear me say this. In 1512, so not long after he's been on the throne, he actually changed to say you can't claim benefit of the clergy if you've committed premeditated murder. So if you've clearly gone out with the intention to kill somebody, so you can't claim benefit of the clergy for that. Now, the Pope actually forbade this. The Pope was really against it. The Pope wanted to keep that. Henry VIII changed it again in 1530, and he was saying it could only be used for a second time. So you've already claimed it once. You can only claim it a second time if it's definitely manslaughter, so if it's accidental killing of a person. However, in 1547, and I'm not entirely sure, I need to check whether this is Henry or under Edward, it got changed so that you can claim it more than once as long as you are a peer of the realm. So if you're one of the higher ranking members of the nobility. But then in 1575, Elizabeth I radically changes this. And what she says is, benefit of the clergy cannot be claimed, so you're not going to get a more lenient sentence if you commit rape or burglary. So what she actually changed is, she said that you can't enter your plea at the start. You're going to be tried in a regular way. Once you've got your conviction of guilty or not guilty, then you can enter your benefit of the clergy plea, and it might give you a more lenient sentence. However, if you have committed these crimes of rape or burglary, you are going to be sentenced in exactly the same way as any regular felon, i.e. you are going to receive the death penalty. I'm going to read you a little bit of the wording here. So it says, repressing the most wicked and felonious rapes or ravishments of women, maids, wives, and damsels, and felonies of burglaries. Every person found guilty shall suffer the pains of death. Kind of nice here, in a way, to see her women recognised and the treatment of women recognised. Although it's important to point out a couple of things. Number one, I think, personally, that the fact that rape and burglary have been put together demonstrates that rape was still seen, I think, to an extent, as a property crime against the husband, dad, whoever owned the woman at the time. And also, while this sounds like a real win for women, don't forget this was something incredibly difficult to prove. Because don't forget, if a woman fell pregnant, the belief was still very much that that means she must have enjoyed the act. Really nice to see that position of authority or position of power didn't excuse you from committing these terrible acts. So that's the benefit of the clergy reduced somewhat by Elizabeth. So it's really nice to actually hear some positive things that this monarch is doing, and nice to see women sort of named as such in the reasoning behind this. So that's 1575. Elizabeth I puts a few stoppers on the benefits of the clergy. I will see you tomorrow for 1576. When our girl's doing some more good stuff, we're going to be talking about her poor laws. See you then.